Hello, everyone, and welcome back. So, I'm going to try something different in the coming probably weeks. I'm experimenting with different graphics as far as including them in my videos. So, you're going to see a little bit different format as far as my videos go, but I'm probably going to go back and forth between talking in front of the screen to just having a video play and you don't see me whatsoever, to maybe a mix, and yeah, we'll see where this leads. So today I want to talk about a utopian world or a dystopian world. So for those people that are not familiar with dystopian and utopia, it's basically heaven or hell, just different words. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because of, well, quite frankly, where we're at in life as a society, as culture, as individuals, families. We have been seeing in the last, I'm going to say, 20 years or possibly more, some very profound changes as far as society goes. And these changes are continuing, not only continuing, but it seems to me intensifying. And what I mean is that there's religious institutions that are losing their power and their influence. Then we have governments also following suit, where we don't trust them anymore and we don't really believe that they have authority over us. And then other things that are really changing, or some things that are very intense in life, is the weather events and the financial system and the family unit and relationships. Everything is changing. And some of us are seeing this as the collapse, and they're in the panic, while other people are seeing this as a rebirth to a sort of renaissance of the human spirit and a totally new world that's on the horizon. So we see this, like, there's people calling for the 5D and, all sorts of different ideas like that. And then there's other people that are calling about, like, how society's crumbling, how the economics is really no longer functioning as well. We have also in Canada, at the very least, I know there's other countries that are facing the same problems, but where we have the healthcare crisis that we have, the housing crisis, cost of living crisis. And this is quite concerning for some people because of, well, quite frankly, we've been used to living in a certain way. So there's certain people that used to be very connected to religion, and now the religion is falling, and for them this is, undesirable, and it's very scary, and they're seeing this as an apocalypse. While other people are saying, good, finally this religion that was suppressing us and hiding all sorts of truths to us is finally collapsing, and is good riddance in a sense. So what is happening right now is very drastic changes, but how we perceive these changes as good or bad, or undesirable and desirable, or something pleasurable or something unpleasant, it totally depends on if we were attached to the old world. So people that were attached to the old ways of doing things, they're seeing this collapse as an apocalypse, as hell on earth. Well, the people that no longer believed in these institutions, religions, and governments, and the financial system, and so forth. They're rejoicing because finally this is collapsing, and rightfully so. And what I'm trying to say is that depending on the person that you ask, different people will tell you different things on if they're scared, if they are in favor of what's happening right now, if they're celebrating or if they're scared, or right. So it all depends on us and how we perceive this. And I think that is very, very important to be in touch with how we feel about this. So if we honestly are feeling this is an apocalypse, well, don't try to pretend that it's wonderful. Just go with what you're really feeling and see what's behind these feelings. So why are we scared, or why are we celebrating, right? I think it's important to be in touch with what's going on inside and how we are feeling through all these very, very deep changes that we're experiencing. Because as much as I name some deep changes, I could go on, like the extreme weather events, the relationships where people no longer are interested in getting into relationships, how people are no longer interested in having kids, how so many people now, if you'll go on YouTube, and they are done with the 9-to-5 jobs, how people are, no longer buying into the media. There are so many things that are happening all at once. And I think this has to do with what video I termed the intensification. Because for me, this is how things go when things are about to really drastically change. This is what we're experiencing right now is just a prelude to what is coming. So what is coming is going to be very, and how we perceive this is going to be very relevant to how we are feeling inside, and how at peace that we are, and if we have a spiritual foundation. The good thing about spirituality is that no matter what outcome, so let's say the Utopia happens, well, you're going to be better suited for that world. This is going to be really like along your interests and your viewpoints and how you prefer to live. So it'll be it'll be awesome, right? And I don't want to get complicated here and like what is spirituality. I'm just going to say spirituality is about knowing yourself, right? So the only way that really this will benefit us at the end is if we do the work. So just by pretending that we're meditating, so not really meditating, but just closing your eyes and having your two fingers like this and hoping that people will take notice that you're meditating is not going to do the trick, right? As Jung said, that we don't become enlightened by chanting love and light. We become enlightened by facing our darkness. This is the first and foremost thing that we need to do. We need to see what kind of darkness, what kind of like limiting beliefs that we have, and what what the shadow part of us, if we're anxious, if we're angry, if we're depressed, sad, if we have low self-esteem, we need to look into these things and do the work so we can have to become redeemed, to purify this sadness, this anger, this anxiety. And that's how we become enlightened, is by doing that work. And simply like going about like and meditating and then just like, or reading a book or whatever, right? It's not if we're just reading a book and we're just going through the motions, then we're not coming face to face with our darkness. And the only way out is through, is to get in touch with this darkness and to feel it and then to process it and to untie these knots. But if we're going to be claiming that we're on the Renaissance side, on the Utopia side, and then we don't do the work and we bring all this garbage that we used to have in the old world into the new world, it doesn't do the trick. We have the same old, right? And quite honestly, me personally, I don't want to have anything to do with that. I want to have somebody that has done the work and is able to be present, to not succumb to the wounds that we believe that we have. Because at the end, these wounds, we just believe that we have these wounds and we act it out. So we know that somebody believes they're wounded by the way that they behave. So if we're always in victim mentality, if we're always angry, if we're always anxious, we're always sad, we have no self-esteem, we see that in someone. We see that they're not well. So in this new world, in this new year that we're stepping into, are we going to bring this old garbage with us? And if so, well, how can we expect something different is going to happen? Same thing is going to be in our face because we brought everything from the past to the present moment. But that is up to us, right? I'm not going to be someone that's going to put down someone and like ridicule them for being wounded, right? I've been there myself, right? And even now I know that I'm still not fully healed. But when I see something that if I get triggered or if I see that I'm not comfortable in the situation, I look inside and see what is going on, instead of sweeping it under the floor, under the rug, and then blaming the person that triggered me or blaming the situation that triggered me. So what are we going to create? What do we really want? What kind of world do we really want? Do you want that world that we see crumbling? You want to try to keep that old life, that old world alive? Well, it's on the verge, it's on his death throes right now, and it's basically in the hospital with the ventilators all plugged in. And are we going to keep these ventilators on that old system? Or are we going to pull the plug? Right? I, for one, want to pull the plug. Because for me, the old world didn't make much sense. It was all based on fear, control, competition, division, the ego, basically. That's what it was based on. And it was fun for a little while, I guess. But I've grown out of it. I'm hoping that we all grow out of it so we can start really working together. But until that we heal this stuff, how can we work together? How can we work together when all this junk from the past is going to be present in the everyday moment? So if we have people that want us to believe that religion is the way, and we're like, no, it doesn't interest me, and then these people are constantly pushing this religion, and then for us it's like, I'm not interested in this. And then the same thing with finances, the financial system, with the same thing with government, the same thing with the way society was structured. Um, See, and even I'm going to say as well, relationships, where for me, like in the last, I would say 20 plus years, all I've seen is a hookup society, which is like very much like it wasn't very fulfilling, these relationships, and I don't want any part of these relationships as well. I just don't. And I'm hoping that a lot of you are feeling the same way. But if we are genuinely seeking to get into a better relationship than what we've experienced in the past, then we need to let go of the things that we believed in the past that we used to do. We need to stop doing the things that we used to do that used to bring these unfulfilling relationships. So, I mean, it's up to us. If you don't want that, and if we don't want that, well, okay. But for me, this is what I want. This is I want something fulfilling. I want something meaningful. I don't want to have to deal with people that are constantly wounded and throwing their tantrums and their control issues and their jealousy and all this stuff. I'm not going to deal with it. Right? You guys can keep on doing that, and like, even if you want to have your little war, go ahead, have your little war, but I'm not going to participate. Right? So at the end, it's going to be up to us. Is it going to be hell, or is it going to be heaven? Is it going to be Utopia? Is it going to be a dystopia? Is it going to be the apocalypse? Is it going to be the Renaissance? Is it going to be something fulfilling, or something that wasn't very much fun? That's something that wasn't fulfilling whatsoever? And we're going to be the ones that create this. We are the ones that are going to create our own. We always have. We've always have created our own reality. And I hope that people start realizing that more than ever. It's all our doing. So if we got in a bad relationship, well, we are the ones that got into it. If we were in a bad job, we are the one that got into our bad job. If we had, if we were stuck in a religion that wasn't very meaningful, well, we're the ones that got into it. So what are we going to start choosing now? Are we going to start choosing what's aligned with us and what we really feel is fulfilling and meaningful? Or are we just going to go with the old way, the familiar known? I know which direction I'm going. And I'm hoping that many people are going the same direction. I know some people are. People are waking up all over. And it's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. So, I'm hoping that you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it didn't sound too much like a rant. I just want people to start taking responsibility for creating the world that we want to see. I hope that you see where I'm going with this. So, with that, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to say I love you. You're amazing. Happy New Year. And I'll see you next year.